welcome. I am working today on the Pretty Jewelry Challenge for May. It is a birthstone challenge from Angela of Pirate Pretties Jewelry, and in which we are to use the birthstone color of emerald, metal type of gunmetal or bronze, project type is an earring, and then you can optionally use the fun element of Celtic or crystals. So I am using all of these and these really simple earrings. I've got another project after this that is going to be a little more complex, but this is a simple stacked earring kind of thing. So I've got these little emerald beads that I'm going to string on, and I'm going to probably voice over the rest of this for you.
Going to go really fast, but I am using an antique brass head pin that I don't have bronze, and this is the closest thing I have to bronze. Bronze and brass are pretty close in color. That stone bead, the hole in it was drilled very small, so I am finding another emerald in my stash because, and I could have gotten thinner head pins, but I'd already made one of the earrings with these thicker ones, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and yep, that one slid on there just fine. So I'm adding a little brass spacer, a large bead cap, a small bead cap, and a crystal clear bead. I'm not positive it's real crystal. I think it's probably just glass, but it's crystal clear. And I'm going to make a wrap loop. So I've got my round nose pliers. I'm bending my head pin at a 90-degree angle, wrapping that around to make a loop, and then I'm going to open that loop a little, slide it onto my little round lever back ear wires, and then I'll finish the loop. Now, if you want to see a wrap loop a little bit better, I'm going to put a link up here in the right corner for you. I have a tutorial on making wrap loops. I talk about them all the time. It's my favorite thing, y'all. It's almost meditative for me to make a wrap loop. So I'm going to trim that with some flush cutters and then tuck the end of that. And just like that, y'all, how long was that? That was like 2 minutes, and I've got an earring. So 2 earrings there, done. So this next thing I'm doing is a little more complex. I've got a part of a cookie tin, and it is emerald green. And I've got this, it's basically a stencil template that I created on my vinyl cutting machine, and I just ran cardstock with a few shapes I liked through it. But if you have a stencil with shapes that you like, you could do the same thing. Now I'm doing the back so that the Sharpie doesn't get on the front and it's easier to see too. And I'm just tracing 2 of a shape that I like, and I've got these tin snips that I really love. I will put a link to them. They are actually from Basu's boutique. I have not been able to find them anywhere else. Any of my other supplies though I will link to on Amazon, and anything you buy, I get a small portion of it, but it's no extra cost to you. So I just heads up about that. But I'm using these tin snips to just cut out those shapes that I traced. Now, I don't in this video clean off the Sharpie because I'm going to sand it, and that will take off the Sharpie in this instance. But if you do have any of the Sharpie that shows just a little bit of alcohol, or I'm trying to think, probably fingernail polish will take that Sharpie off. But alcohol, just regular rubbing alcohol, will take that little bit of Sharpie off your tin. So as you see, I'm just cutting this the same way you would with scissors. I went really slow, went ahead and did the other one, and now I'm sanding it. I'm going to use, this is I'm trying to think, this is the fine to medium grit sandpaper from a sanding block I get at the Dollar Tree. And real quick, I'm going to snip off those super pointy tops. I don't like the really pointy points because I don't want anybody to get poked with my jewelry. So I'm sanding down the edges of this. Like I said, this is also going to take that Sharpie off of it. And I'm using the sanding block, and then I think I'm going to use a green Scotch. Oh, why did I go out of focus? That's so crazy. Sorry about that, y'all. Then I'll use a green Scotch-Brite pad Oh, I'm also going to sand the back of these because I want to darken these to get kind of a gunmetal color to them, since that's the other metal. In the first pair, I used that brassy bronze, and in this pair, I'm going to use the gunmetal from Angela's props for this month. Now, I encourage you to use the hashtag Pirate Pretties Jewelry Challenge. I'll have it either in the title or the description below. Click on that and you can hop around and see what other people made. You can also join the Pirate Pretties Facebook group, and within that, there's going to be some reveals of this challenge as well, where people are sharing what they made. So, and Angela has all those links over on her channel, so I will also link to her so you can find all of that. All right, so then the last thing I used to sand that down was a steel wool. I love the steel wool as a final little sanding because it makes those edges feel like butter. It's just, yeah, it's just a thing I do. All right, so I did that. I did the sanding process on both of those, and now I've got some Novocaine black. This is a blackening patina for solder, for like, what do you call it? Stained glass work, basically, but it works great on tin and other things, so I use it. Y'all, I should probably be wearing some gloves. I am not always so careful with the chemicals, so y'all do as I say, not as I do. Wear some protection. I apologize. I was just in a rush to get this done and knew I would wash my hands as soon as I got this done. So I just use a paintbrush, brush that onto the back and a little bit on the front, so it kind of got the edges that were sanded as well. And I'm going to dry these off real quick with my paper towel. And I did throw my paper towel away when I got done with this. I'm sorry my camera keeps going out of focus. I think I'm just doing too much for it. And so to seal that black patina on there, I'm going to use, and we're going to flip screens here in just a second, but I'm going to use a Johnson's paste wax, something you get at the hardware store. And it's a sealer for all kinds of things, but y'all see me, I'm just taking my time with this, aren't I? Oh no, gosh, I said I was going to use that Johnson's paste wax. I forgot. Before I did that, I decided to go ahead and punch my holes. I'm using a 1.5 millimeter metal punch, and I'm going to just kind of eyeball it on this. I could have measured it out. Y'all, that's not my jam. I knew kind of where the middle of the top is, so I'm going to go ahead and punch that. And this green bucket you see me bringing in is just a little bucket that I keep on my desk so that I can catch little metal scraps or tiny little things that are on my desk, rather than taking the risk of tossing it down to the trash can and it winding on the floor. Especially with these little metal pieces, I don't want to step on them. All right, so I've got the hole at the top that's going to be what the earring hangs from, and then I'm going to punch 5 holes in the bottom. So I started in the middle, and then I'm going to do the edges and then kind of eyeball between the two, like the middle one and the side edge one. So, and I'm taking my time with this because, y'all, I am the world's, again, because I eyeball this, I'm the world's worst about getting too close to the edge and absolutely just ruining that piece of tin. But I keep in mind as much as I can that this is just some cookie tin that I either was gifted by somebody, or I picked up at the thrift store for probably $1. So I try not to stress too much about it because it's something somebody else would have considered trash. So I'm getting this last hole punch, and then I'm going to show you what I do for the second pair. As soon as I get this, see, I'm checking again. I always look around the sides to make sure I'm not too close to the edge. I don't know how many pieces of tin I've had to throw in the recycling because it's not awesome. Once I punch a hole, I like to do a little hammering on my bench block on either side of it just to make sure there's no like sharp edges that are poking up from the holes. It's because once you punch them, you get kind of a little bumpy feeling, and I don't like that. So again, I try to make sure everything stays smooth and safe. All right, so I'm going to match these up back to back. these two pieces I have, and they are not because everything is handmade, it's not always going to be exactly exact even when I cut it from the same template. It just, yeah. So I'm matching these up as best I can, and I'm going to mark the holes again with my little Sharpie. And because I'm punching the holes out, those marks, are going to be punched out. So I won't worry about trying to get those off. Now, all of this punching and all of that could have been done before I darkened it, and probably should have been, but it's okay. It doesn't make a huge difference in the end whether you punch the holes before or after you darken it. I do want to make sure that I don't add the sealer until after I punch the holes, so that those holes also get sealed, so that the raw edges in there are sealed. So here's where I've brought in my Johnson's paste wax, and I have it's a rag. It's one of my husband's old t-shirts I've torn down, and I like to reuse them as little rags that I polish things with. So I'm putting a little bit of the paste wax both on the front, the back, and I'm kind of getting the edges as well. And this helps seal your tin. First off, that patina you added, make sure that it stays on there. But it also kind of helps keep that from rusting. It's not going to be a fail-safe. Things will still rust. Things will still break down over time, but everything does. That's my motto, is everything's going to break down over time. It doesn't matter what it is. Even plastic, as many million years as it's going to take, plastic is going to break down as well. So I have put that on there, and I'm buffing off the excess, kind of buffing it in there with a clean t-shirt rag. So once I get that done, I can bring in the beads, the really fun part of this. So, and I'm going to speed that up in a little bit. I'm going to show you first what I'm doing, which is I have some gunmetal headpins and some tiny clear crystal beads. I think, yeah, I don't even know what the millimeter is on that. They're probably like 4 millimeters. And I'm going to make wrap loops. So I'm going to go through and basically start my wrap loops and put the beads on the head pin using my round nose pliers, make that 90-degree angle, then make the loop, but not finish the loop. And I'm going to do that for all 5 that are going to dangle from the bottom from those 5 holes we punched. And I probably should have sped this up a little bit, but I wanted you to see. Now, what I really should have done, y'all, because I like to work in batches, is I should have put all of those beads on the head pins and then made my wrap loop, because I'm having to put down my pliers between each of these and then pick them back up. If I had just done bead, 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 and then wrap, 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 or loop, 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 I wouldn't have had to put the pliers down between each of these. I have found that to be a much more efficient way to do things when you're doing like a lot of the same thing. So here's my number 5. And I'm going to make that loop. Like I said, I'll have a link somewhere for you to see how I make wrap loops. Now I'm going to open that loop and slip it into the hole, one of the holes we punched. And I tend to work from one side across the other. I don't do like either end. It's just easier to keep like a clean open area. And I'm going to complete my loop now. So I'm making that wrap. And I will switch between pliers here because I don't want that end poking up. So I'll trim that and then put that down. Put it down. I will use my tweezer nose pliers to press that end down. So here's where I speed it up. You see, I'm going to make all of these loops really fast. Like I said, working from one end to the other. But I wanted you to see, that working in batches like this, makes it a little more, I don't know, I always feel like it's more efficient for me. But I'm working across this, like I said, keeping one clean edge so that you're not having to work between things. All right, once that's done, I have got, this is it's called art metal wire from Vintage, and this is a 20 gauge. So I've cut off a length that I know will be good for 2 wrap loops. And I'm going to go ahead and again begin a wrapped loop at one end. Make my loop, and I'm going to open that up and then slip it onto the top of that. I'm going to open it up, so I don't know what happened there. Slip that onto that top hole, and basically I'm making a connector to run between that our 10 piece with the dangles and the ear wire. So I've got some larger clear crystal beads. These are, I think, a size bigger than the first ones we used in the first pair of earrings, and these that we're using in the small ones in these earrings. Man, I'm getting tongue-tied here. All right, so I've completed that wrap loop, and so I'm going to slide those large clear crystal beads on and then make another wrapped loop. Now for this one, you see I'm going to think about it. I want to make the loop going in the same direction as my 10 so that the 10 is the front of the earrings when I connect them to the ear wires. So here again, I'm making another wrap loop, y'all. Like I said, I'm all about the wrap loops. I could do it all day long. It's almost meditative for me, and just, I like to turn on a video and watch some YouTube and just wrap loops all day long. It makes me happy. All right, so I'll trim this off. And you can see I went ahead and did my other 10 piece there to get the start of that earring. All right, so once that's there, I'm going to hold my earring so that I know where the front is. Make sure my loop's flat. And I'm going to open the loop. I'm going to twist open that loop on my ear wire, find the front, make sure my 10 is facing front and that the ear wire back is in the back. Slip that on and then twist close that ear wire. I'm going to do the same thing on the other pair, and then I am done with these. So even though this was a little more complex than that first one, it really was pretty easy process. I really love working with 10 because it's so versatile. I'm going to show you both pairs together. I've got some pictures at the end of both of these. If you have any questions, please ask me below. I love to see your comments and questions and all of that, and make new friends. I think that's everything. If you like this, give me a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe and go check out everybody else's videos for the Pirate Pretties Jewelry Challenge. Thanks, y'all. Bye.